Well, I'll preface this. I had no intention of telling a story tonight, and when they said, well, they had one storyteller, I said, oh, fuck. So, loosely interpreting the theme, it has nothing to do with nonprofits, nothing to do with the climate work I do with Citizens Climate Lobby, or anything to do with my work I make a living at, more or less, as a furniture maker. This is about what the fuck am I doing here moments. I think most of us have had them. 15 years ago, about this time of year, I'm a sailor. We actually just came back from the Chesapeake last weekend. We had 2 days of beautiful weather and no wind, which isn't ideal for a sailboat. We went out not realizing, and the charter company sent us out for a 2-day sail on the Chester, that we were in the tailwinds of Hurricane Hugo on the Chesapeake. And so it was raining with about 20 knots of wind coming from the north as we're going south. And the Chester goes like this. It goes south and then east and then north. And where we were, the river we were going to would have been fine. And on when you're going straight downwind, when you have two sails, when one would be blanketing the other, sometimes you just go on what's called your head sail, the Genoa. And so for the first 10 miles, we're going just on the Genoa, but then it turns to the east, and we have to take our main up. And we're on a sort of small boat. It's a Catalina 30 with a propeller about this big. And the wind at this point is probably about 45 knots. And the waves are like this big. And we're going with the wind on our side. And the boat is heeling pretty far over so that the downhill rail is in the water. And one of the crew, there are 6 of us on the boat. And one of the crew members is sitting there like terrified that we're going to turn over, not thinking about the clowns with the weight on the bottom that, you know, you've got a 6,000-pound keel on the mast, and sailboats don't turn over. But she's terrified and just shaking, and I have to take in some of the sail. We have to take in some of the sail. This is a boat that was new in this fleet, and the line that you pull to take it in snaps. So here we've got this big sail, and we have no control over it. And we're in the middle of the river, and I'm thinking, what the fuck am I doing here? Except there are 5 other people on the boat, and I'm responsible for them, and I'm responsible for the sailboat. That's my hole in the water this weekend. There's this joke about the other name for a sailboat is a hole in the water you throw money into. So when you charter, it's somebody else's hole in the water. So I called the charter company and say, what do I do? And they said, get the sail down off the drum. They're roller furling. It's like a window shade. And you pull it up and you wind it around, but the line to wind it is broken. So send up 2 crew members. It takes them 3 tries with the boat bouncing like this. And finally they get it down, and we turn around, and it takes us about 2 hours to go that first 10 miles, maybe. And it takes us till 5:30 in the afternoon to go back, because sailboats don't go very well with under power, particularly into the wind. And there's times we're not moving, and there's nobody else on the boat who can control it in the wind. So from about 9 in the morning till 5:30 in the evening, I am at the wheel. I can't even stop to pee. And because the boat, you know, if we get going due north into the wind, it gets blown off like that. So we get back, and talking to Jackie, who's half the charter company, and she says, you know, I used to go sailing with my dad, and he would say, if I don't worry, you don't worry. And that was what I had been experiencing during this trip, which was, I'm responsible, and if I act like I'm worried on this, they're going to be really bad. So whatever my insecurities were of what the fuck am I doing here, at no point could I express it until we got back. So, what the fuck are we doing here moments?